Good morning, Internet. This is Alex does Sudokus, and it is Thursday, the 3rd of September 2020, and we have another medium New York Times Sudoku for you. I'm going to be doing normal medium walkthrough again today because I have work in 24 minutes now, so since I do the medium walkthrough slowly, I won't have time to do the no pencil mark notation. So let's dive right in and let's see. We're going to do what's called the Snyder notations, where we're only pencil marking 2 candidates at a time within each cage for each number. Basically, what that means is, for example, these ones locks those 5 cells out, leaving me 2 possible candidates for the 1 within this cage, and therefore I will pencil mark them in. But if I look around the board elsewhere, I can't see any more cages where I can lock the 1s down in 2 cells. I've got 5 candidates there, 5 candidates here, 3 candidates here, so all these are no use for me. I'm only interested in pencil marking them in if I only have 2 candidates left. So for example, these 2s locks a pair of 2s over there. That 2 on its own locks a pair of 2s down here. So we'll pencil mark them in. I can't see anything else, even though these 2s act as a pointed pair on the row, which means the 2 has to be somewhere in this cage on row number 2. Therefore, they can't be on row number 2 elsewhere within the cage, within the grid anyway. So 2's out of play in here, and that 2 sees into that cell, so it has to be over here somewhere, but we can't deduce which of the 2 locations they are in these 3 cells, so we're gonna leave them alone. And let's look at 3s now then. So this 3 locks a pair of 3s over here, and that acts as a pointed pair on the column. So in essence, the 3s are already taken in the columns 4 and 5 in this cage here. And I also can't place it on row number 8 because of the 3 here. So that gives me 2 candidates, and I'll pencil mark them in. This 3 acts on that column, and that 3 acts on that row. So that also gives me another pointed pair of 3s. And then look over here, locking these 3 cells. So therefore, the 3s have to be up there because that 3 also sees these 2 cells as well. So I think that's all I can do with the 3s. Let's move on to 4s. I've got a pair of 4s here because of these 4s locking the rows. These 2 4s also locks a pair of 4s, but they don't act as a pointed pair because they're diagonally aligned, and they don't point in either up or down basically, so we can't do anything with it. I think that's all the 4s that we can pencil mark in, so let's look at 5s. 5s, I've got a pair of 5s here. I've got 5 over here as well, but it sees into the cell that is already occupied. So I have a pair of 5s over here. This 5 also acts on the same 3 cells as a 2, so I have a 2-5 pair locked in the 2 cells. Well, that's an interesting property of stopping any other candidates from going to these 2 cells. So these can be 1, 6 or 9, which are remaining in this cage, because they have to contain either the 2 or the 5. So whilst we're there, what's a good habit is to see, since we only have 3 candidates left, it's worth pencil mark them in where we can. And in fact, this cage sees the 1s and the 6s anyway, so I've got a 2 6s down here, so they actually lock a 6 over here, and I've got a 1 seen to that cell, so that has to be a 1. And finally, I'm missing a 9 in this cage, and it has to be over here now. So that's quite useful. So this pair of 5s also acts as a pointer pair of 5s over here, locking these cells, along with that 5 locking those cells. So the 5 has to be in here and here, because I also have a 5 acting on column number 2. So let's see, what else can we do? 5s. 5, 5. I think that's all I can do with the 5s, so let's look at 6s now. 6, well, I have a pair of 6s over here because of these 2 6s locking the columns, but I don't point horizontally, so it doesn't help us in that way. 6 is also locked in here because of these 2 6s locking the rows, and that 6 locking one of the remaining cells. So now this 6 acts on that 6 as well, locking another pair of 6s up here. And I think I've pencil marked in all the 6s now, so let's move on to 7s. So I've got a pair of 7s here, they lock a pair of 7s over here because of this 7 locking the row. And let's see, I can't see anything else with the 7s, so let's move on to 8s. Okay, this 8 locks a pair of 8s down here. So now that acts as a pointer pair looking back up, along with that 8, locks a pair of 8s in here because this 8 locks the row number 3 as well. So, what can we do with that? Doesn't look like we can do anything else with 8s. So let's move on to 9s then. 9s, I've got a pair of 9s over here, locking the 9s in here because of the 9 ticking column number 9. And I've got 9 here and a 9 over here, locking a pair of 9s, and it's another pointed pair of 9s. So the 9 has to be locked in these 3 cells, but we don't know which of the 2 or even 1 that it belongs. So that's all we can do with the 9s now. So we've made good progress. We've done a lot of pencil markings, but not a huge amount of actual number filling. We've only put in 4 numbers so far. So what's worth doing now is having a look around the grid and see if we've created any what's called weak areas. So what I mean by that is any dimensions on the board that only has 2 or 3 cells that aren't actually populated yet with like confirmed digits. So what I mean by dimensions are either rows, columns, or cages. So in this cage we've got 2 and 5, but they've already been pencil marked in, so we can't deduce where the 2 goes and where the 5 goes just yet. So what about here? We have 3 cells left on the row. So as a quick tip, if you want to know what candidates are remaining on a row or column, look at the pencil markings that you already have in. I've got 3 and 8 there. So at a quick glance we can see there are no 3 and 8 because so far the pencil markings are correct. I haven't made any mistakes of not cleaning them up just yet. So they have to contain 3 and 8 on this row. I only have one more digit I have to find, which is a 7. So I've got 3, 7 and 8 locked into this row. So let's see, 7 sees that cell, and I also have a pointer pair of 8 seeing that cell as well. So basically this cell has to be a 3 because the 8 or the 7 cannot go there. And by process of elimination on this row, the 3 has to go there now. So if the 3 going there, we no longer need that pencil marking. We also have 7 and 8 remaining in these 2 cells, but we can't tell where it is yet. We haven't got any pointed 7s or pointed 8s looking up into either of these cells, so we can't progress any further. But what we can do is, looking at the 3, it sees down here, working with that 3 creates a pointer pair of 3s, and that locks a 3 in these cells, so we can't do anything with that. What about over here? No, we haven't got anything horizontally acting with the 3 either, so that's all we can do with that. Have we got any other weak areas? I'm just going to blow my nose quickly. Apologies. Let's see. I can't see anything else. So what may be worth doing is, since we've made changes to the grid by placing numbers in, it will have an effect on where the numbers can go on the grid. So it's always good to do another round of pencil markings to see if the changed board actually allow us to limit where some of the numbers go. So what we'll do is go around with the ones. We can't form any new notations just yet, so let's look at twos. Twos, 2, 2, 2. No changes on the twos. Threes I've already looked at just now, so I think it's safe to say I can't do anything else with it. What about fours? 4, 4. Fours are locked in there. Still no changes. Fives, 5, 5. Don't think anything is happening with the fives either, so this is not looking super promising, but let's keep going. Sixes, 6 I've already pencil marked in everything. Sevens, I've already pencil marked in the sevens over there. So 7. How interesting. I can't see anything as sevens either, so it's looking like we can't actually form any new deductions on this grid. 8s, I can't see anything with 8s, and I'm pretty sure I can't do anything with 9s either. So that seems to be a relatively tough puzzle today. So what I tend to do when I get stuck with notations is to look at what I considered weak numbers. And weak numbers are basically numbers that doesn't occur on the board very often. And I'll explain what we'll do with it. So we've got ones. Although actually, before we do that, I just want to have a quick scan on this column because 6, 3 and 4, 1, 7 and 4. So not really that helpful. Let's see what I'm looking for. So let's look at this cell quickly. What I'm looking for now are what's called naked digits, or naked single digits. So what I'm looking for is any cells that cannot contain 8 of the 9 numbers, and basically that strips away the pencil markings of 8 of the 9 numbers, leaving a naked single basically. So let's see, this cell can see a 1, it can't see a 2, but I can see a 3 as a pointed pair. I can see a 4, I can see a 5, I can see a 6, I can see a 7. I can't see an 8 though, so this cell has to be a 2 or an 8. So it's not helpful for us actually. I was hoping that anywhere where the cell interacts with many rows or columns will help us narrow down a naked single. So I'm going to use my strategy actually. So count the digits. I've got 3 1s, I've got 2 2s, so 2 is currently the lowest contender for weak digit basically, so or strongest contender. 3, I've got 3 off, so 4s, I've got 3 off. 5s, I've got 3 off. 6, I've got at least 3 off. 7s, I've got at least 3 off. 8s, I've got a pair off, so 8 is another weak number. 9, I've got at least 3 as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at any cells that interacts with both the 2 and the 8. For example, here we've got the 2 and the 8. So the principle is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to see if we can see any of the other digits. So for example, we can't see a 1. We can see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that has to be a 1 actually. So that's been successful. Let's see if we can do any more with it. So 8 interact with all these 3 cells. I also have a 2 here, so let's have a look. I can't see a 3 and I can't see a 4 in this cell, so that can't be a naked digit. What about here? I can't see a 3, but I can see a 4, 5, 6. I can't see a 7, so that's no use. So this cell also interacts with the 2 and 8. So 1, 2, can't see a 3, can't see a 4 either, so that's no use for us. Anything else? Have I got pencil markings of 8? So that interacts with 2 and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, can't see a 5. I got 6, 7, 8 and 9, so that's a 5 actually. So that's another candidate another number I've confirmed. So the 5, it eliminates that 5 pencil marking. and it also locks a 5 over here because these two 5s acts on the columns and that acts on the row. So that now locks another pair of 5s over here thanks to these two 5s, and I think that's all we can do with that 5. So where else do the 2 and 8 interact? Let's see, 2 and 8 interacts here on this column, so these 3 cells are potentially naked numbers as well, so naked singles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't see a 6, 7, 8. I've got pointer pair of 9s over here, so that's a 6 as well. So that eliminates that 6 pencil marking. It also eliminates a 6 pencil marking over here, locking a 6 over here. That's all we can do. That's all the 6 is done. So let's continue on. What about this cell now? So in fact, we're better off working backwards now in this cage. So let's see. We are left with 4, 8, and 7. So 4, 8, and 7. I can't. Can I see a 7? No, I can't. But what I do know is that it's actually a 7, because this 7 locks those two cells, that 7 locks those two cells, meaning I've got a pair of pointer 7s here anyway. So that is actually, that forces, that pointer 7 and that 7 locks the 7 in that cell. So 7, 4, and 8 are actually resolvable. Let's carry on, and once I've done with this, I'm gonna talk about why I use weaker numbers, but I guess I just want to demonstrate how powerful the weaker numbers are, even though the 8 is no longer a weak number because we just filled in an 8. But let's carry on anyway. So in this cell, I can't see a 3. I can't see a 1 either because I've got a pencil marking 1 in there. Although, having said that, that 1 actually forces the 1 in there, so we've actually resolved that. And we're left with a triple here, which are 3, 9, and 4. But 4 can go in any of these 3 cells, so that actually locks a pair of 4s over there. But I've got 4 seeing into that cell, so 2 and 4 are resolvable. Which means I've got 1s and 8s down here. So let's pause for a little bit. I managed to basically, pretty sure I've cracked this puzzle now. I also have a 7 over here on this row, and so the reason I focus on a weak number is, if you imagine looking around the board, if I look at any random cell to see whether it's a naked single, well, the chances are, with 2s and 8s being weak, they can't see many cells within the entire board, on the entire board. So in most places, you're going to find at least one of the 2 weak numbers missing. So even though I can see an 8 in this cell, I can't see a 2. So the probability is that it increases my probability that this is not a naked single. So in fact, if you look at it, we're missing a 2 and a 4 at the very least in this cell. Possibly other numbers as well, but yeah, I can't see a 5 either. But in most cells, you're going to find I can't see a 2 or an 8. And the thing is, if we already know where the 2 is, we would already have put them in, because we would be able to kind of spot them by just looking at where the 2s interact or along the grid, I guess, in general. There's a very low probability that we'll happen to find a cell that are stripped of 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and 9, if that makes sense. Whereas if we actually focus on the cells that can see the 2 and the 8, then you already eliminate all the cells that are not singles, that can either be a 2 or an 8, basically. So by focusing on those cells, you have a much higher probability of finding a naked single of the other stronger numbers, because they see more digits in general, they see more of the board in general. So that's why I focus on that. So with that in mind, let's try and finish this puzzle. I'm now going to attack the weak areas. So I have a weak area here of 2 cells. The reason it's 2 cells, not 4, is because the 2s and the 5s are actually locked in these 2 cells anyway, so they're out of play. I only have 2 other digits on this row, which are 1s and 8s, but we can't actually deduce where they are just yet. So what may be worth doing at this point is actually looking around and seeing, basically scanning the board again to do normal pencil markings. So ones, I can't see anything else with ones. So what about twos? Because basically we've changed the board quite significantly now. So there's a high chance that we're going to be able to place some digits now. So threes, although having said that, can't see anything on 2 or 3. Well, the 4 is locked in that cell because that 4 actually saw one of the pencil markings. So now these 2 4s locks a 4 down here, and that locks a pair of 4s over here because of these 2 4s. It also locks a pair of 4s over here because of these 2 4s, and bearing in mind that row is out of play. So what about 5s? 5s are locked in these 2 cells, and I don't think I can do anything else with 5s either. So 6s are done. 7s. 7s. Disappointing. Nothing on 7s. So what about 8s? 8s. Nothing on 8s either. Let's look at 9s then. Oh, this puzzle is determined not to be solved that quickly. So I think, yeah, let's look at the weak areas and see what we can do. So here we're missing 7, 9 and 3, but we don't know where. We don't have 2 remaining candidates for the 3s and the 9s, so we can ignore that. Let's see, what else is weak? So whilst the 2 and 5 pair along the row locks the 2 cells, didn't lock it along the column, so I actually have 4 cells remaining in this column, so that's not actually a weak area from that perspective. Struggling a little bit here, so this feels like a little bit of a tough puzzle, so I don't think I can solve it with just looking at the areas of 3. So I think we need to look at areas of 4s now. So this is 1, 8, 9 and 1, 8, 9, 1, 2, 8 and 9. So let's see, I can see a 2, I can see a 1 and 2, so this is 8 or 9. I can see 1 and 8, so that's 2 or 9. How peculiar. So that's also not resolvable. What about over here on this row? We have 2, 3, 8 and 9. You can see a 9 there. You can see a 2 and 8, so that's 3 and 9. I can see it 3, but nothing else. I feel I'm missing something obvious here. No, can't resolve that either, so let's look at this weak area. So this is 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2, 4, can't see a 5 though, so can see a 3 but nothing else here. Oh dear, I'm stuck on a medium, that's not very good. So I feel like there's either something I missed. So let's have a quick look around again. Either I've missed something or let's look at this cage. This cage hasn't actually seen any pencil markings. So 9s are here, 8s are here, 7s are... actually I've got a pair of 7s here. So, and a pair of 7s, no, I've got triple 7s down here. 3s are locked in these 3 cells, so not useful for me. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to start work a little bit later today. Thank God for what do you call it, working from home. Actually, let's look at this cell because I'm missing 3. Let's see, 3, 7, 8 and 9. I can see 3 and 7. Can I see 8 or 9? No, I can't, so that's got to be 8 or 9. Oh, I've already looked at this column, haven't I? So this is 3, 7, 8 or 9. I can see 3, 7 here as well. So these 2 cells are 8 or 9. So these 2 cells are now 3s and 7s. which also doesn't help me. That's disappointing. So I think at this point, I may just have to pencil mark in everything as I come across them, and chances are I'm going to spot a hidden pair that will unlock this puzzle. I have a suspicion it's something to do with this row, one of these weak, well, strong rows, because they have too many numbers. So what about here? 1, 7 and 6. So let's see, 1 and 7 can't go in here, so 1 and 7 have to be down here somewhere, but I don't. So what am I missing? 3, 5, 8, 3, 5, 8, 9, 2, 2, 3, 5, 8 and 9. No, I just can't see it. So I think in light of that, we are going to pencil mark in everything. And at this stage, it's probably not too bad to pencil mark them in, because the purpose of slider notation, as far as I'm concerned, is to reduce the sheer volume of pencil markings that we put in on the grid. So we've already eliminated most of the cells and most of the candidates now around the grid. So doing pencil marking ins now isn't actually too harmful, I don't think. And we do remember that this can't be 8 or 9, because 3s and 7 can see that cell, and 3s and 7 can see that cell. So these have to be 8 and 9s. So 3s and 7 can't go there, and 9 can't go. Oops. 9 can't go in here either. So I've got 3s and 7s here. So let's do all the 3s. Ah, but that sees a 3. I should have seen this already. That would have unlocked the puzzle. So this cell. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry. This is 8 or 9. Oh, what am I doing? That's 3 or 7. My bad. So yeah, that's 3, 7, and that's 8 or 9. Okay. So let's pencil mark in all the 8s and all the 9s, which are everywhere in this cage. So this is why I find it best not to pencil mark in too much in general, because it gets a little bit confusing because you've got too many pencil markings in now. So there's a high risk that you'll lose your place. But if you're disciplined, it shouldn't matter. In fact, oh, I feel really dumb now. This 1 actually locks a 1 in this column, so that would have probably solved the puzzle for us. So the 1 can't go in there anymore, so 1 and 8 should have been resolved. I do apologise for missing that. So now that 8 acts on this column as well, locking a pair of 8s over here, so the 8 can't go in there, therefore it has to go in this cell within the cage. So that resolves the 8s and the 9. So 9 can no longer be in this cage. So what else can I do with this 8? Well, I've got 2 9 pair there, but we don't know where it is yet, because 2 can be in any of these 3 cells. So let's see, what else can I do with the 5 and the 8? Surprisingly nothing yet, but let's see, let's stay with the pencil markings. 1s, 2s. The 2s are still giving me trouble. 2s. So 2s have to be down here because of that 2, and these 2 cells are out of play. So that can't be a 2 anymore. And let's see. So 2, 2. 2s can be anywhere down here. What about 3s? 3, 3. 3, 3, 3, 3. 4. 4, 5. Hang on. Where haven't I finished? Oh yeah, down here. So 5s. 5s are locked in those cells. 5, 5, 6. 6s are done. 7. 7 are also locked in these 2 cells because of that 7 over here. So now 1 has to go in this cell. So with that 1 in place, that locks a pair of 1s over here. So I've got 1 7 pair now. So this is forming a triple of 2, 5 and 8. It can't be a 2, so it has to be 5 or 8, which creates a 5 8 pair and a 3 9 pair over here. So 9 sees into that cell, so that resolves the 3 and the 9. I haven't pencil marked in the 5 8 here because I'm trying to leave the cage clean. But let's see, this 9, no, it's that 9, isn't it? I can't remember now. Well, let's look at this 9 first. That 9 eliminates that 9, so the 4 and 3 sees into that cell, so 4 and 3 are resolvable, and that 4 unlocks this 4 over here, which is the last 4 available for us. So we still have the 5 8 there. What about here? We've got 2 and 5, still can't resolve that just yet. 5, where can a 5 go? In any of these 4 cells. No, any of these 3 cells. That's a bit annoying. That is still not immediately resolved. So this is causing me a little bit of impatience here. However, I think if we look on this column, we've got 2 3 pair there, which means no other 2s and 3s can go outside of them. So 2s and 3s can't be anywhere else. That unlocks the 7, which resolves the 3 and the 2 and the 9. And that 9 resolves the 2 up here, forces a 9 here and a 3 there. So it's starting to come together now. So does that do anything else for us? That 2 unlocks these 2s. So now the 8 is left in here. This has to be 8, 3 or 9. I can see 3 or 9, so 8 is here. So that locks a pair of 8s down there. So now 8 can't go in this cell. It has to go in here. Therefore that's a 5. And that's a 5 as well. So that should be all the 5s. Not yet. That's not a 5. It has to be a 5. That's not a 5. So that places the 2s. And it places a 3 because of the 3 8 pair. And that 3 finally unlocks the 9, which leaves me a 7 3 pair that are resolvable because I've got 7 over here and a 3 over there as well. So let's see, this is now resolvable as a 2, which resolves the 2 and the 7, and that 7 resolves the 1 and the 7, and that 1 resolves the 1 and the 8, and that 8 resolves the 9, yep, 9 and the 8 finally. So that one took way longer than it should have done, because I missed the 1, the hidden, not hidden, but the 1 being locked in this column at some point. So I do apologise for taking longer than usual. I'm going to have to rush to work now, so I hope that's somewhat useful if you're beginning, and it shows that it's okay to be stuck. You just need to be patient and just rework your steps. And people, even when you're experienced, you can miss things sometimes. So, although I am by no means experienced at all, just been doing this for probably 2 or 3 months. And but anyway, I shall see you tomorrow. Please like and subscribe if it's useful for you. Bye.